Oh, that's so fire. Oh, yum, yum, yum. All right, YouTube, we are back with another episode of the Meathead Cookbook, and this is going to be a little bit more in-depth one just because we have to chop up one vegetable and make some noodles, and there's a couple steps to this one, but this one, I've been wanting to make a soup for a long time, and this one looked absolutely fire, so I'm going to make this soup today. It's a little Marry Me high-protein soup in the crock pot. We're throwing it in there for 3 to 4 hours. Again, if you don't have a crock pot, I think you should absolutely get one. I'm going to hook you up so I can use both hands for my culinary skills here. We're throwing in like 2 pounds, 1.5 to 2-ish pounds of chicken tenderloins here into the crock pot. This is our protein piece of it. Nice and money. Cannot go wrong with the chicken. I actually don't love cooking up chicken on a stovetop, so anytime I can find a good, I love chicken like in recipes, but just by itself I would much rather eat beef. Like, I just do not love the flavor of chicken just by itself. There's good ways to do it, but anyways, I'm just telling you why I like it in the crock pot. Gives it a lot more flavors. We're gonna throw some Italian seasoning, same as the beef roast here. Throwing some Italian seasoning. We got 1 tablespoon of that stuff in there. Highly measurized for perfection. Then we got some garlic powder. We need 1 tablespoon of this. I'm actually going to measure this because I actually don't know. I just threw in 1 package of the Italian seasoning in there. Actually, I kind of like garlic, so I'm probably going to get a little bit more. Boom, boom, boom. Like, that already looks good. Cumin. Then 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. I think it's cumin. I don't know how to fucking say. Don't listen to me. Just cook the meal and do it. We're going here. I couldn't find my tablespoon measurement, so we're using a 1/2 tablespoon one, but that's kind of where we're at on this Meathead Cookbook. I also had to buy a can opener today for you guys and a pot to cook these noodles in. So if you guys like the channel, support the channel so that we can buy more chicken, more kitchen equipment. All right, we got that all thrown in there. Then we got to throw in 4 cups. It's supposed to be chicken broth, but I'm throwing in bone broth in there just to add in some more protein per the girlfriend's genius idea. But this is, I know this is going to be fire already. You have this much chicken with this much bone broth in there. It's going to just be so juicy. Yeah, this is going to be our best idea yet for sure. A little high protein, low calorie soup. Then we got to throw in these cans of tomatoes here. It's supposed to be sun-dried tomatoes. That's the original recipe, is throwing sun-dried tomatoes in here, but Target was unfortunately all sold out of sun-dried tomatoes, so we're just going to throw regular tomatoes in here and pray that it works. So that's our meathead exploration today. I have not made this recipe yet before. All of the other ones so far I have made, but this one I have not. So, but it looked fire, and I'm excited for the ingredients that are in it and what it looks like right now. Now, see, this is a super advanced section, so I'm gonna have to label this one, like put a parent advisory on. If you're a college or high school kid, you're gonna have to chop up an onion here. I have faith in you, but I'm gonna be completely honest. I was looking for pre-chopped up onions in the store, and they only had red onions, which I whined to my girlfriend. I asked her if I could buy them, and she said no, they will not be sweet. So I had to buy a yellow onion here, and I have to manually chop it up, which is so unfortunate, but we're going to chop this baby up. I also only have like a tiny little knife. This is not the best knife to be chopping this up with, but with the money made off this channel, when you guys support and subscribe, I will buy a bigger knife for next video when I need a knife. That'll be the deal right there. I actually do love onions though. Onions are one of my favorite vegetables. I just, with all these meals that I kind of make, I just like making them at a like high volume, just meathead style. And onions, like, it's just like, it's a lot of work for not a lot of nutritional gain, I should say, but the flavor gain is definitely worth it. And I should say that. So I always like to cook up one creative, fun meal for the week, so something that's a little bit more flavorful, and then one base meal. And that base meal is almost always that beef meal that we cooked last week. But one meal is going to be like branching off a little bit, one meal, just to like spice things up and get some flavor in there. So I'll spend a little bit of time on that meal. And then the other meal is just going to be straight gas for the fuel tank, ripping that. So we're going to finish chopping up these onions, and then we will get to the next step. All right, so that is that part of the recipe right there. We threw the onions in there. I really hope I read that recipe right. I will clean this up in a little bit. I'm actually going to add some onions into some of the beef that I have later tonight. But hope I read that right because that looks kind of like a lot of onions for the rest of the ratio. But smells fire in there, okay? Once that comes out, we got to wait like 3 or 4-ish hours here. I should probably start a timer for me here. 3 to 4 hours. I'm going to just put it on 4 just so I got it. But once that comes out, and I'll record this piece, we got to throw some cream cheese in there. We got to throw some Italian cheese in there. And we got to throw some spinach in there. And then I think we have to add a little bit of milk. We stir it up and then break apart the chicken. The last thing, this part is optional, but it looked fire in the post, so I'm going to do it again. This is the fancy one. I get it. There's a lot of steps to this one, but I think it should make like 4 to 5 meals of this soup. It looks like a lot in there. So 5 meals for this amount of work, and I'm just saying it's fancy because it's a couple steps compared to the other ones that have not been that many steps. But we're going to work on our culinary skills. We are going to boil some water here, and we got to make some pasta for this. So I also had to buy this pan, like I was saying, because I did not have a pasta pan. I forgot the frickin' pasta strainer. I'm just realizing that right now. But we just got some noodles here. We're going to boil those up in here. When the soup is done in 4 hours, we will throw the noodles in there. We'll mix everything together, and we will taste test it for you to see if it's absolute fire. So let's boil up these noodles and get it from there. All right, the water's boiling. We are going to throw in some of these noodles here, and we're just cooking them for 12 to 14 minutes. We got some salt in the water here. That should be enough. I'll save the rest of these noodles for next time. We want to do a fancy one. Again, you can do this recipe without the noodles. This is just my fancy, fun recipe, so this is going to be the one that tastes good. We will set the timer for 12 minutes here. Is that 2 timers on here? Oh, yes, so clutch. Right here, and then we will just let them cook in that for 12 to 14-ish minutes, or until they're soft. Then we'll find a way to drain them. I think I'm just going to drain it with the top. And then we'll have like 2-ish hours left of the crock pot cooking up our soup. Then we'll break apart the chicken. We'll throw in some cream cheese, spinach, and the noodles, and it should be fire. Let's go. All right, so we got this baby in here cooking up. Noodles are finishing. They just finished up here, so we're gonna drain these noodles, and then we will be, fogged up the camera. We will be back right here. Just gonna drain these noodles here. Right into the sink. Oh yes, this cover is actually nice. Boom, boom, boom. Got the noodles fully drained. We will let them sit there. We'll actually probably put them away for a little bit while the crock pot finishes up, and then we put them together, and it'll be a banger. Let's go. All right, so we had to actually end up cooking this overnight because I did not want to make the video. When I checked it after the 3 hours, it was pulled apart. The chicken was pulling apart a little bit, but wanted to be just a little bit softer. So we let it cook overnight. We pulled apart all the chicken. We just stuck in two forks here, got the chicken all blended up here. Now we got to finish this baby by throwing in, we got half a block of light cream cheese here, so we're throwing this baby in there. Half a block of that. Then we got to throw a cup of Italian cheese in here. So this is the healthy part of the recipe, obviously, but it's gonna make it taste fire. I already tasted the chicken a little bit, and it's really fucking good. I just threw my entire measuring cup in there, so that's usually a good thing. Throw that in there. What else do we have to do? 1 cup of milk. So I need that measuring cup that I just threw away back. Right here, 1 cup of milk in here. And there. Then we got what do we have to do? We have to stir this baby up. And then once we stir this baby up, we throw some noodles in there and let it heat up. And then we will do a final taste test. Oh yeah, this is going to be creamy. I'm going to throw some noodles in here. The noodles that we cooked yesterday. Going to throw some of these babies in there. Then we will let it warm up just a little bit. I'm going to Neanderthal this and grab some noodles with my hands. In there, get some carbs in there. Twist this baby up. Maybe a couple more. Boom, boom. All right, I'm gonna let that heat up for a little bit, and then we will do our final showing and taste testing. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of what we're working with right now. And then once it heats up, we will, look at that. Yum, yum, yum. Once that heats up, we will do a little taste testing, and we will be back in action. Let's get it. All right, we let it sit here for like 20 more minutes. Blended this baby up, and oh, it is a thick, juicy glob. We got, again, like 2 pounds of chicken in here. We got some noodles in here. We got some tomatoes. Good little meal prep. One of the big meal prep hacks with big soupy type things. I mean, look at this. I don't know if you can see this. I'll come show you. I'm gonna go off on a little side tangent on how thick this soup is right here. Look at that. That is a protein-based soup right there. That is fire. But when you're cooking for yourself and you make a bunch of this with your recipes, freeze some of this, right? So like half of this is going to go into my fridge, and we're going to make half of this for the meals this week. We'll do half of this with the half ground beef. And then the rest of this is going to go into the freezer, and you'll just throw it into, I mean, you can throw it in Ziploc bags or containers, but we have like soup frozen like that, takes up no space in the freezer. And then when you have a week, or let's say you're coming back from travel, or you just want to mix it up, you can just pull one of those bags out, put it in the fridge, thaw it out, and then heat it back up when you're ready to go. And you can create a bunch of different meals all at one time. So your meal prep for your busy weeks, but also if you just need to change up the week of, or you're sick of the same meals over and over again, you have a couple different meal options in the fridge to be able to spice that up. And they're all, again, high protein, good macros, good micros. They make you feel good, and it's all about tasting good. So this is a pretty good Marry Me high protein chicken that we got going there. That one was a little in depth with all of the ingredients that we had and all the steps we had there, but I think it's going to be worth it. And again, it looks like it made a shitload of soup that was going to take me a long time to consume. So probably going to have meals for this week, and then a couple Ziploc bags in the freezer of this stuff for the future. And the time I actually spent making this was very little. You had to wait a little bit long for the crock pot, but pretty much the only effort that I didn't have to throw something in the crock pot was when I had to chop up the onion. So pretty basic, pretty simple, high protein. It's going to taste fire. And excited for this one. We'll be back next week with another Meathead Cookbook. Appreciate you guys watching.